So a mother, she is now changing her tune because she's pushing for a vaccine. And the reason why is because she lost her child. She lost a daughter. And so this article I was looking at, I thought it was pretty sad. And I've been hearing more people that normally wouldn't have taken the vaccine now starting to rethink their choices of what they should have done earlier on because now their families are being affected by this new Delta variant. And so it is spreading pretty rapidly. And so here in South Los Angeles and in LA County, they are starting to, they as in the CDC has basically come out with the warnings, several warnings about how contagious this new variant is and the other variants that are out there. And there's also been uh, people that mainly are really concerned are hospitals, worried about the hospitals starting to fill up again. And it's starting to happen all over again. But the people that are being most affected are people who have not really, pushed for getting themselves vaccinated, and so now they're going back and trying to get those people to get vaccination or either get tested. There are city workers that they're stating um, needs to have like a test weekly if they refuse to get the shots because of the spread of this variant. So this heartbroken mom, she pushes for vaccines after her unvaccinated daughter dies of COVID. And so I guess this is a message, one of many. And so this is by Emily Shapiro. Erica Thompson, a mother of three, now this is in St. Louis County, Missouri, died of COVID-19 on July the 4th, a death her mother said could have been prevented. So Thompson, who is 37, you see pictured here, was unvaccinated and said that her mother, Kimberly Jones, is the one that said that. And so had my daughter have been vaccinated, I think she would have still been with us. And so this is what Kimberly Jones basically put out there. An undated photo of Erica Thompson, a mother of three children in St. Louis County, and that is Missouri. And she died from COVID-19 July the 4th, right on that day, and she was only 37 years old. So Thompson leaves behind a husband and three sons. The ages are 8, 11, and 17. So Jones, speaking to ABC News as she prepared for her daughter's funeral, said that she hopes their story will convince others, especially people of the Black community or Black Americans, to get vaccinated. So Thompson, who had asthma, went to the hospital on May the 16th with chest pains and tested positive for COVID-19 days later. This is what her mother had said. And so Thompson's health had started to decline very fast. And the doctors recommended that she goes on a ventilator. And so Jones said this. And so she cried and said she wanted to live, Jones recalled, and this is while she was in the hospital. Until Thompson was transferred to another hospital, this was around June the 1st, and then she was put on an extracorporeal membrane oxygenation which is an ECMO, a specialized form of a life support, but her lungs were not healing from any of this, Jones said. So she developed a lot of infection, blood clots. Her kidneys started to shut down, Jones said, and her skin got really dark. And it was just heartbreaking to watch her body not respond to any of the medication. So I just felt like my daughter, it wasn't even her. So she went on day after day after day, and I would go to the hospital, and my daughter was really slipping away. So as Thompson's condition began to worsen more, the family members, including her oldest son, accompanied Jones to the hospital to say their goodbyes. So Thompson died July the 4th. She had spent 50 days in the hospital, which Jones called the most grueling, excruciating 50 days of their lives. And so this was her picture here. She looked pretty healthy and young and vibrant. But she is no more because she contracted COVID. And I just sit and cry thinking about my daughter and how much pain she was in. Jones said preparing for the funeral has been so taxing on them, the family members. So to protect you better than infection, doctors say. Jones said that her mission now is to promote vaccinations because she said that her daughter adamantly did not believe in the COVID-19 vaccine. And so that's what we hear in the Black community. And let me tell you, I'm going to add to this. So um, there has been on YouTube, there has been a lot of conspiracy theories that have floated around about the vaccines. And so that, I believe, is the reason why a lot of African Americans that don't get vaccinated will not get vaccinated. That's one of the reasons. Other than the fear of side effects or any other fears having to do with maybe if something goes wrong, if it isn't a fear, it's an excuse to just not get vaccinated. The other thing is disbelief because of the conspiracy theories. So I believe there's a lot of them going around on YouTube, and that is the reason why you'll find a lot of African Americans or African peoples, even if they're parts of religions and beliefs, that won't get vaccinated. And so sometimes people who you try to convince, no matter what you say and do, is not enough. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's too late. And for this young lady, it was. So it says Jones said that her mission is now to promote vaccination. So Thompson wasn't scared of contracting the virus, her mother said. And so we have a lot of people, even here in South Los Angeles. That's the reason why when they showed a map of the contagious virus that is going around right now, which is the Delta, they basically went back to the mask mandate. And so they were going to take it away because we were doing well. The numbers had went really low, but now they're starting to creep back up again, and they're creeping up really fast. And so we're having people go to the hospital. There's new deaths and new people contracting the virus a lot more frequent now. It's starting to go up. The numbers are going up daily, and it's tripling, probably quadrupling. So she wasn't scared of catching this virus, and I've seen other people who they won't wear masks or they're doing things as if there was no pandemic. And so she's not alone in this. So it says she didn't even think that it would ever happen to her. So Thompson is now one of the many of 611,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19. Just 57% of Americans ages 12 and up are fully vaccinated, according to the data of the Center for Disease Control. So Jones says she's vaccinated, as is the rest of the family, and so she wants to tell all of the Americans, don't be selfish. get vaccinated, because it's not only showing you love yourself, but you love the community and your neighbors, your employers, and your coworkers. So that's my prayer, she says. I want everybody to get vaccinated, and especially African American peoples. She continued, so use this as a way to help others. Okay. And so that was the article. I thought it was pretty simple and to the point. And I know even with a situation like this, there's still going to be people who are naysayers and unbelievers because they haven't known anyone who has gotten sick or has died of it. And it almost seems like something tragic, such as what happened to this young lady, has to almost happen to get people to understand, but by that time it's far too late. And so that's why they're trying to prevent a lot of this. And so I noticed that when they showed the map on the news this evening, that it was in red, meaning that this area, and this wasn't the only, but South LA County has a real huge problem with the spread of this variant, and it's highly contagious. And so they have a problem where people are exposing others simply because of lack of information or fear, or they're listening to a lot of conspiracies, and maybe they have the same mindset as this young lady who is now no longer with us. Maybe they just don't believe that it could happen to them. And so we have a lot of that happening with young people who don't see that this is big of a problem as people make it seem, because they haven't either known someone or they haven't themselves gotten sick, at least not yet. And so that's the unfortunate part. And so that's probably why people like this woman, who was really young, 37, ended up learning that yes, this disease is real, it's out there, and you can catch it. So I'm going to let this video go until the next video. It's just sad that it was too late to save this young lady's life, all because she just had a disbelief in the vaccines and in this whole virus pandemic. So she's not alone. There are others out there who are still in disbelief, and it's almost like they have to find out the hard way that they can get sick.